my name's Artemis, and a long time ago, back before probably anybody was actually who's watching this was a furry, I made a video called What's the Deal with Feet Paws, where I explored what exactly the fandom's obsession with feet paws is, where it comes from, and why it's so great, whilst also squeezing in a bunch of gratuitous shots of my feet paws. And upon looking back on some of the old stuff I used to make, and getting past the complete lack of audio and visual quality to it, I realized that some of these points are actually pretty good, and I could actually make these points about other subjects. For instance, feet. Because I'm much more comfortable about talking about that stuff, and I also found an excuse to talk about feet again, and I thought maybe I can squeeze in a bunch of gratuitous shots of feet as well, so here we are. But also, more importantly, it does actually seem to me that since I joined this fandom and all of this jazz, the attitudes towards feet and people liking feet have actually softened and changed for the better, and it's something that I'm really happy with and would like to explore and talk about, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, because this is my channel and I'm fucking shameless. So let's get into it and see if we can answer the question, what's the deal with feet? It seemed to me when I first came into things that people seemed to really hate this shit, and they had no trouble letting you fucking know about it too. Ugh, fucking pervert, leave my shoes alone. Motherfucking Dan Schneider, Quentin Tarantino looking ass. How do you censor feet in real life when you're around freaks? Hey yo, this guy likes toes. That's ruined his whole fucking life. And I mean, it just isn't like that anymore. I mean, people tend to just vibe and see it as a joke, but we've also seen that whole thing of, you know, oh, at first I was like, ooh, feet is a joke, and I don't think it's a joke anymore, and that seems to be quite a common trend. Disclaimer, that wasn't me. I never saw this as a joke. In fact, when I found all of this stuff, it was more like a religious awakening. Dear Lord, please give me a sign. What am I to do with my life? Feet. I'm sorry, what? Feet. That is your purpose. Feet. Are you sure? I mean, there's not like some higher purpose, something more important than feet. I'm sorry, wait, higher purpose? Have you seen you? Like, have you looked at a mirror? Because I think feet is the level that we're gonna stay, okay? Feet seems to be about the right spot. Take your fucking shoes off is what I'm saying. I mean, just look at the amount of gripper memes that there are, and for free, and the fact that people do just tend to include them for laughs, for a vibe, because, you know, it's easier than just hiding them. It's easier than just thinking, oh, it's disgusting, I don't want to do that anymore. And generally, people's attitudes seem to be more of a jokey time with it. Hell, we've all made those same jokes about a syrupy paw job and all of that shit. People generally seem to admit that this is a funny thing that's also kind of common that we can go for. Hell, you can even pay your rent with this. And the amount of people that say they don't actually like this sort of thing and yet still do pictures is kind of telling, even if it feels like they're lying to themselves. Oh, no, I don't personally like feet all that much. I just find it funny. You know, it's a funny meme. Anyway, here's a full picture of me showing my entire bare soles. Yeah. And another. And look, I'm gonna share them again with people. I don't like feet. Obviously, I'm not into feet. Obviously, it's just a funny meme. It's just really funny. Do you want to see them again? I mean, I can show them. Fuck. When you look back at that whole old perv mentality, it really has come a long fucking way. Even if we don't fully really understand anything all that much about it. Now, to prepare for this video, I did some research on where exactly foot fetishes come from and why people like feet so much, and as you would expect, the internet was full of answers, all of which sounded completely and utterly fucking wrong.
No, yeah, it's like babies, isn't it? It's like they crawl around and they see the feet first, and that's what they attribute to, like, people. It's what they like. It's why, you know, because of that, it's why everybody loves feet, obviously. Fucking don't though, wait, what the fuck?
Something wrong with their brains, I'm guessing? Like they're wired wrong, or they were dropped on their head onto a foot as a child?
Oh no, mate, it's like certain lifestyles, isn't it? Like, I don't know, books, same-sex couples, being fucking barefoot while you're pregnant, I don't know.
Well, I mean, as Freud said, every child wants to fuck their mother, and women have feet, so that.
Video games. And woke teachers. Fucking socialists.
Okay, so the nice, clean, clinical answer would be that yes, in the brain there is actually some locality between the parts of the brain that control the sexual organs and the parts of the brain that control the feet, and potentially there is some cross-wiring that happens there that kind of switches those signals up and mixes them together, which Yeah, maybe that is the case, maybe it's not. I don't know how it accounts for someone like myself who very much loves the feats and very much does not get lewd with them, but whatever. There is also actually some evidence that there has been a rise in like foot material in magazines that correlates with a rise in STDs, and maybe this is an evolutionary thing. Maybe it's a protection. Maybe it comes down to, you know, so many people are getting these STDs from traditional intercourse, but you can't catch it from a foot, so maybe we'll make them like the feet. And hell, maybe it's even population control. Maybe it's nature being like, whoa, shit, these humans, there's fucking loads of them. Maybe they don't like the V or the P anymore. Maybe they like the feet. But who knows? Either way, honestly, the causes don't really matter. You can argue why someone may or may not be a certain way or like a certain thing, but essentially, it's not really something that's super fucking important. I just thought I had to cover it because there's always going to be some smartass in the comments like, actually, it's about cross-wiring in the brain. I'm like, actually, I don't fucking care. All I care about is why it's so common these days, and I think I might have some theories for that. Now, feet are widely recognized as one of the most fetishized parts of the body, but even beyond that, we, as a fandom, have found this weird sort of pseudo-kink space where people like things that are generally a bit kinky, but not in a sexual way. Me. And I feel like that's a very important thing. I think that's very cool, and it still makes a lot of sense, especially when you consider that when it comes to things like feet, there's just so much more variety with it than anything else. It's boring as what the fuck. I'm tired. Feet though, so much you can do with feet. There's massage, there's worship, there's tickles, there's shoes, there's socks, there's footwear in general, there's the whole thing of macro micro, there's dom sub stuff, there's like servitude. There's so fucking much you can do with them. They're so fucking versatile.
I mean, I guess. They're just feet. You walk on them. How much fucking more does there need to be?
Get out. Maybe it is that variety that sort of allowed it to become something that's less of a, disgusting pervert kind of thing, and more of just it's a thing that exists and doesn't have this connotation to it. I mean, there's so many parts of the body that are very sexually charged that you can't really just include without people assuming it's going to be one way. I mean, elbows. Have you seen how fuckable elbows are, no matter how you try to like them? I'm close to having to censor them, to be perfectly honest with you, but no, it seems that attitudes have been softening when it comes to the feats, and maybe this variety is helping that, but maybe there's been a bit of a shift in our culture and our perceptions of this sort of thing, and maybe that's having an effect. Here's a really weird observation that I made having moved to the US. People here seem to give a shit about their feet more than people in the UK. In the UK, most people have got crusty ass heels and they don't really seem to give a fuck about foot care beyond letting the shower water run down their leg. Whereas here, pedicures seem pretty normal and most people's feet just generally seem to be normal. Not like crusty or dry or disgusting, and yeah, there's perhaps certain cultural differences that led to that, but it does seem to me that the general standard of foot care and hygiene has risen slightly, even amongst those that you wouldn't expect it.
Sorry, can I fucking help you with something?
You're a guy. Why are your feet not the texture of a fucking brick?
It's a really weird thing to say to someone you've just met, but I guess it's because I give a shit about myself. I mean, is that so fucking rare?
Actually, kind of. Although I suppose less and less these days.
Okay, great. Are you gonna stop staring anytime soon? This is starting to border on the fucking weird.
Yeah. In a minute. Nice. And of course, this has a knock-on effect. Obviously, with feet looking nicer and then generally people being less disgusted by them, footwear trends have changed as well. More open-toe styles, sandals, flip-flops, even slippers. I mean, goddamn, I grew up wishing we could wear slippers in public, and now I'm living in a world where you do. And this change in attitudes, this lean towards comfort and general just, I don't want to have to hide my grippers away at all times, definitely has some sort of effect. And things have come a long way. I mean, hell, can you imagine wearing fucking fluffy slippers outside in public in the 70s? The fuck is that long-haired hippie doing wearing slippers in public? Fucking commie bastard. Where are your government-issued combat boots? Or hell, even the 80s. Okay, I swear to God, this guy's on cocaine. Actually, fuck, could you even imagine doing that in the 2000s? What kind of guy wears slippers out in public? Jesus. I'm sorry, a plane just hit the what? Then you have things like the shoes off indoors rule, which is pretty universal and comes from a place of cleanliness. You don't want mud all over the house, but also, like, you have to see that potentially that starts to have this whole effect of not wearing your shoes gives you a sense of familiarity, of comfort, of feeling welcomed in a space in which you feel safe. And that's kind of lovely. Even if, TV shows lie to us and say that everyone wears shoes inside and even wears them when they're sitting on their bed, which is completely fucking wrong, but it is a nice sign when you're in a place and you don't feel like you have to keep your shoes on because you're feeling welcomed. It can mean a lot, even if we exaggerate that for comic effect.
I just don't feel like I fit in here. I just don't feel comfortable.
Hey, take your shoes off.
Are you sure?
Of course. Maybe I'm just reading too much into this, but it does seem like there has been a lot of change, a lot of small little shifts in the cultural zeitgeist that has led to stigmas softening and people generally not being so rigid and disgusted by something that used to be a very private, very hidden away kind of deal. And yeah, it sure as shit isn't all that important, but maybe that's also the point. Maybe the fact that it isn't a big deal is actually a big deal. I mean, if we're going to talk about cultural evolution and the way that people have changed in general in society, we also have to talk about just the general zeitgeist of kink and sex and how things are just much more in the open now. People are much more aware and knowledgeable and understanding when it comes to stuff, and also they're much less likely to oppress the parts of themselves that perhaps are more kinky. In fact, there is just so much out there right now that it gives us quite a perspective when it comes to, where on the spectrum of inherently weird and niche, and everybody kind of likes that, feet really sit.
No, I know, it's just... I'm shy. I don't want to be judged, okay? I like feet. I don't want that to be a huge deal.
Seriously? You know Gary has a piss kink, right?
Yeah, but...
And John, John? Really into cockvore. Like, graphic stuff.
Right, but...
I don't even know what Pete's into. But I do know that the only reason it's not considered a war crime is because it's between consenting adults.
Huh. So you mean...
Yeah, feet are pretty fucking vanilla these days, champ. Of course, I'm not looking to judge and say that one is more or less weird than another, but it does put things into perspective when you see the broad spectrum of things that people are into and accepted for, and realize, oh, okay, yeah, this is nothing these days. I mean, hell, we have communities, we have celebrities that are known for this sort of thing. It is a running joke that you can pay your bills doing it, and it's generally become just a very normalized thing. It's appeared in a hell of a lot of stuff, and honestly, I'm all here fucking for it. And especially when you take a look at how things started when I discovered all of this stuff and my own personal little journey within it. Now, to cut an incredibly long story short and try and get this nice and concise about my own journey with the feet stuff, I discovered the feet stuff when I was 15, and that was before I discovered I was asexual. So there was a great deal of confusion there, but more importantly, I was an incredibly anxious person because the area I grew up and the people I grew up around, everybody seemed to be foot phobic. Nobody liked feet. They were viewed as disgusting and gross and horrible and all of that jazz. I remember the crippling social anxiety of buying foot care products, of wearing flip-flops in public. It freaked me out because I had this spotlight syndrome and thought everyone's going to be judging me and thinking I'm a freak. No one's ever thinking that, but try telling that to social anxiety. It doesn't listen. And then I joined the fandom, which allowed me to branch out and gain a lot of social confidence, but the people I was with were still very... not great when it came to the feet stuff. Very judgmental, very much, why would you like this? How could anybody like this? And that didn't help a great deal. I then met people who were very much, I don't give a fuck about it. And it's not like, I don't give a fuck. It's, oh, that's cool, that's nice. It's just not a big deal to me. It doesn't register on my radar. And I started to realize that that's what the majority of people are like with this thing. And I gained a lot of confidence in myself. I also gained a lot of body confidence because I don't tend to feel that myself. And, I definitely feel it with the feet because I put a lot of effort in there and it seems like it shows. But as I grew, as I learned, I became more comfortable wearing what I wanted to wear because it was comfortable and I liked it. I became more comfortable being myself, and that was a huge deal. And the shift in this culture, the shift in everyone's mentalities helped a lot with that. I mean, I'm in a spot now where friends just take feet pics because it's funny. Because it's funny to vibe, because mine are bigger than theirs, and it's a cute picture. It blows my mind that I got to that stage, but it really does mean the fucking world to me. And this isn't just a whole video about, oh, we all like feet a bit better than we used to. It's also, like, when I made that video back then, I was anxious and scared to admit a lot of this stuff, and now... fucking look at me, I'm a shameless motherfucker, and that's a really good thing, and I'm really happy about it. And I wonder, does it happen to everyone else? But there we go. There's my story. There's my own little personal take. I hope that made some sort of sense. Let's get to the outro so I can say that all over again. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it had some sort of sense to it other than just I found an excuse to talk about feet. I have been going through old videos and seeing just how poorly made they were. Oh my god, I was so bad at this stuff. But I have also been seeing that some points might need an update. Some points have changed, some points haven't, and I might be doing some, I don't know, I don't want to say updates or sequels or continuations, but I'm looking back and I'm thinking, I could say more about that subject, so maybe I should. And this was obviously one of them. So, yeah, I hope this made some sort of sense. I'm glad that we're all getting on together then with feats and stuff, because honestly, it's been a long time coming. I feel we'd all need to just generally vibe along the mindset of who the fuck cares, it's a foot. And I really like not being made to feel like a fool for this stuff, so thank you, I guess. But if you did enjoy this video and all of the gratuitous paw and feet shots that I managed to squeeze into it, and you would like to see more, I actually have places you can go and do that. And Fansly obviously kicked me the fuck off. Actually, they didn't. They said they were going to kick furries off, but it's still there. But I moved all of that stuff to just for fans, and of course I have the stereotypical OF, so go and check those out for as long as payment processors allow them to exist. And again, there's also the Patreon if you're not looking for that sort of stuff and you just like my mindset and how I approach videos and the stuff that I make and think that I'm kind of funny. I've been told that people think I'm funny, but I'm not one to believe my own press. You probably all hate me. But thank you very much for watching. Please go and check out those ways to support, and I guess I'll see you all next week. Bye!